What's going on? What is going on? It is your boy Smooth Blaze, and I am back with episode 5 of the reality check. Present versus future self. So before we get into major points of this new episode, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Also hit that notification bell and select all so you will not miss one video. Now, a little recap of what we talked about a couple weeks ago. The idea of our spiritual goals that we set for 2022. Reflecting over those, figuring out what we accomplished, figuring out what we need to improve on, and how to move forward into 2023. Now, what we will be discussing on this week, the question came upon or arose regarding how can I build momentum leaving 2022? What is the best way to build momentum leaving 2022? Now, as we think about finishing strong, one thing we have to do is really assess where we are. So the first step will be review over your goals for 2022, meaning did I set goals that were realistic this year that made sense? It's just reviewing those things that you struggle with or those things that you thought you were going to do, but boulders came in point. That's number one. Number two, highlight some of your short term goals. Really, what have you accomplished versus what you have missed? I know for me, one of the things I accomplished was being able to pay off debt. Another thing I accomplished was purchasing some properties. So the thing is those are major things that I'm proud of doing. But in the same breath, there were some things that I did miss. Like example of some things that I may have missed as far as short term was I came in a year consistently going to the gym, came in here consistently reading the Bible. And all of a sudden, as the year progressed, things got in the way and I was not able to move forward and continue on with that process. So things happen. That's just life. Highlighting some of your long term goals. That is number three, meaning, is there an opportunity for some of my long term goals to be shifted into short term now due to how fast I've hit some of my short term goals? And what is the move? Or should I push some of my long term goals maybe 2, 3 years farther back because of different setbacks? We all know things in life happen. So we have to evaluate our long term goals to ensure that not only we hit them, but they're realistic as we're moving forward. Um, Next, after that, we have to say this: what really have we accomplished? Again, what have we really accomplished? I give you some examples of things that things that I've accomplished. Paying off certain things, paying off certain debt. That's a huge accomplishment. Buying a new property or two. That's major, especially being a young black man doing that. Starting my new career. I work at a community college. This will be my first time working at a college. That's a major move. Consistently putting money to my savings. That's a big one, meaning that people have the idea we spend so much that we don't really value trying to put money back for ourselves so that when things come up or investments come up, we can advise or add into that portion to help our future self or future versions of ourselves. So those could be some examples of things that you've accomplished, especially from my perspective. What I did not accomplish. Hmm. The biggest thing is I know I discussed previous times we reviewed over and over again purchasing equipment for my YouTube channel. There are setbacks that happened. Now things are going into the rotation as to what they're supposed to be. So now I can focus on the things that I need to do. So I can focus on that aspect. Saving a certain amount for my savings. I had a benchmark at the beginning of the year what I wanted to do. I didn't hit it necessarily. However, I'm closer than what I think. So that's a good thing. But at the same time, I didn't do that. Another thing will be reading a book every month. Let's just be honest. In life, you don't have time to read like I've intended, but I understand where I messed up at. So moving forward, I might need to evaluate trying to read a book every quarter versus every month because that may be too much. Or every 2 months I read a book. It could be that. So I might revise it. And the big one, I remember when I was doing well going into my birthday. The biggest thing was going to the gym twice a week. Man, I was in there, in there, in there. All of a sudden, life happens. I get more busy. I get more meetings. I have more events I have to go to. It shuts down the rotation of what I did. So I'm not mad about it. It's just more of, okay, let's kind of rewind and retool this, knowing that this year was a little big difference between what it was for last year. So that's a major thing. And lastly, what I came up with, or the question that came around for me was, what should I do moving forward into 2023? And as I reflected over that, the first thing that should always come to mind, not only for me, but for all of us, is putting God first above all things. Making sure that He's the head of every single thing, including your life. That's one. Best on next after that will be become more focused on paying off debt, meaning being more intentional, being more focused on getting my finances, my money back so that I'll be able to put it in other areas so that I can improve my life. So that's a big thing, being central focused on that and putting money aside for things that I want to do. All right. Celebrating accomplishments, big and small. I know for me, there have been a lot of small things that I have accomplished, a lot of things major I have accomplished as well. But sometimes I take the time, or we don't take enough time to review over the small things that we've accomplished versus the things that are major. Major, we always want to talk about that, but those small increments are very important to the bigger picture. Less time overthinking and more time executing, meaning being proactive with my things that I'm doing and areas that I need to do, and not overthinking things as if I'm not able or not capable of giving my full potential. That's a major thing that needs to be accomplished. And lastly, eliminating fear and doubt from my mindset. We all have our moments where we feel as if, dang, man, I don't think I can do this. But in the same breath, we have to realize that God will never give you more than you can handle, meaning that He knows that you can handle it. You just have to prove that to yourself and block out this glasses half empty versus glass half full mentality. Don't look at the negative because the negatives can always be there. There's always going to be barriers, there's always going to be wars internally and externally. But we have to realize where we come from. Now, before we close, I would like to thank you guys for taking the time out to check out my channel and checking out this video. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Once again, select all for notifications because I don't want to lose you as subscribers. Shout out to my new subscribers. Shout out to my day ones. But before we close, I'd love to leave you with this simple phrase. We cannot control the hand that was dealt for us, but we can move with a purpose. It is your boy, Smooth Blaze, and I am signing out. Peace.